Traffic Commission meeting of February 1st, 2024. Last meeting did not have a quorum, so nothing was done at that meeting. And this meeting, I have no correspondence, no requests. I don't have really anything for discussion. So with that, does anybody here have anything they want to bring up?
I do not.
No?
No.
No? Okay. I was hoping Tom would be here because he always has
texted him.
You texted him?
I texted him.
So with that, Tom might show up. Mr. Cradaville, would you like to speak to the commission?
Yeah, certainly. Had a few items to address. The first is my concern over the number of fatal crashes in our county. I know that we had the dubious distinction last year of having the most people die on our roadways. I believe 3 of those fatalities occurred in New Brunswick in 2023, and 2024 is off to a bad start after last night's fatal crash. I think we're again leading the
7:30?
state, yeah, again in South Brunswick. So I wanted to ask what, if anything, the city's doing to make it safer for pedestrians and to calm the speeding and make it so there's less dangerous situations, less conflict points, and ultimately safer streets for all. Can somebody speak to what the city of New Brunswick's doing?
Well, I know that through CDBG funds, we've been annually buying in batches flashing crosswalks, targeting intersections for improved visibility. I think the Department of Public Works still needs to install them, but we have bike racks for daylighting to be installed in the 6th Ward. We just, at the last council meeting, we just bought some more flashing crosswalks to be installed in certain areas. We improved lighting throughout, I think, I want to say the 6th and 5th Ward, part of the 5th Ward last year. I don't know if KCMG's done with that project yet. I think we added about 60 or 70 lights. The year before we did 25 or 30 in the 2nd Ward. Street lights, adding them to the poles.
That's in addition to the ones that are already there?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
My apologies.
I mean, those are things that I've been involved in, that I can speak to in some kind of capacity. So I won't speak outside of that scope.
We'll throw Tom into the fire right away. So Mr. Cradaville is concerned about the number of fatal fatalities as far as vehicular crashes go. And he was wondering if what the city is doing to help control traffic, calming traffic. So less chance of fatalities.
And Tom, before you repeat, I mentioned the flashing crosswalks and the additional corporate lights that we had installed.
Fair enough. That's primarily one of we're trying to focus on the schools and the crossings that lead to the school crossings. In that sense, with Dan's funding as it relates to that. There's only so much that we can do. We are going to install a speed table on Nielsen at the bottom of Bayer as part of the Nielsen Street Park. That's one of the features that we're doing.
Speed table, is that like a speed hump?
It's a little bit different. It's intended to have the same effect. It's not like an abrupt hump, but it's generally a raised area, a cobblestone. You may realize there's one right in Metuchen, about halfway between Route 1 and the Amboy Avenue light, and that's kind of like what a speed table does.
Okay.
The intention is still to calm the traffic. Obviously, Livingston Avenue, that whole project was designed as a traffic calming project by making 2 lanes into 1. The state actually is looking to use that motif on an upcoming project they're going to do on Route 27 between Howell Lane and Delavan Street in New Brunswick. The last block is actually county right away, but from the Mile Run Brook all the way south is state jurisdiction. New Brunswick already has 25-mile-an-hour zones all throughout town. The only place that has a higher speed limit other than the highway is a section of Livingston Avenue between Herman Road, actually really between Howell, but that's North Brunswick, all the way up to the traffic, all the way up to the Mile Run Brook, which is right by the strip mall on Elizabeth Street. Everything else in town is 25 mile an hour.
I think part of Jersey is over. I think part of Jersey's at 40.
That's out of our, that's also.
Oh, you mean like street in New Brunswick?
Yes, yes.
Own streets.
Correct, correct, yes. So it's, a lot of it, believe it or not, is a function of enforcement. I mean, I can add many engineering controls, and they only go so far. Obviously, the people's interest in speed humps, clearly that helps, but at the same time, we have to keep certain routes free from those because that's our primary egress for emergency response, primarily Saddam Street. It's important to have those areas. So, again, the fact that 25 mile an hour zone, that generally drops a lot of what the standard MEGCD type of safety devices they might recommend are all above 25 mile an hour zone. So it's kind of difficult to say what are we doing about it, other than that, you know, I know the police get a lot of grants, maybe some enhanced enforcement might be helpful. But again, we're at such a low threshold due to our speed limits.
Yeah, I know that there's some streets that they put the temporary speed monitors up.
Yes, well, we have actually, between the police and engineering, we have a total of 6 movable speed detectors, if you would. And they keep great data. They get us traffic counts. They can talk about percentages of
Oh, so
speed.
it's actually picking up data?
Oh, yeah, there's tons of data. Yeah,
So when it's
online.
flashing your speed, it's actually...
It'll give us counts of how many cars go in every 24 hours, how many of those are maybe speeding or within 5 miles an hour, way over the speed limit. There's some very sophisticated reports. So as we get complaints, we're directed by the police to change locations, and they can then run the data and do that. So, and that's on a cloud service that we pay for. So, and then we kind of more or less have 2 semi-permanent ones along East Avenue. With those, we actually have fixed solar panels, so they don't have to keep. The other guys are removable. We just swap out batteries and move them around. So,
Right.
and they're all rechargeable. So, and then it's wherever the police ask us to take a look at. So,
Yeah, just to add something that Tom mentions, as far as the speed humps go, I know we've got a request for speed humps, and unless, it's on an emergency route, we usually, approve those, so.
right.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for your answers. I will note that the county had created a Vision Zero action plan. So for those not familiar with Vision Zero, it's a concept of essentially striving to have no deaths, 0 deaths. And there was a Vision Zero Partnership Leadership Committee convened in 2022, and I wanted to ask, does anybody know who the city's representative on that committee was?
Wasn't me. I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
Zero Vision Partnership.
Vision Zero.
Vision Zero.
Vision Zero Partnership Leadership Committee, and they provided input to the development of the county's Vision Zero action plan, and it seems like a great thing that the county did there, but like so many things, I feel like there needs to be follow-up and follow-through on it.
So this was in 2022?
Right, and I think Middlesex was one of the first to kind of...
They didn't have one last year? What do you know?
I'm trying to follow up and see what's been done since then, but they did, create an action plan, and, I think, obvious next step would be to make sure it's followed and see how it works, and, I'm trying to learn more about that, and I think that could bring me to my next point of, I think these meetings would be even better if a representative of the county were here. I know in the past we've been successful in getting Rutgers to send someone. Obviously with county roads and Rutgers playing such a big role here, there's just, some seats at the table that I think they should be, present for. And so I would encourage, if you haven't already invited those folks. Yeah.
Tom, who's the county engineer?
Actually, Ron Sedler is the county engineer, but Ron has the gentleman's name is Xavier at the moment. He has a transportation expert within his staff, who deals with the roads and the lights.
And not to put the onus on you,
But
but you deal with these people all the time, I'm assuming.
not always. We have some interaction as it relates to if it's a planning board thing that has both county and city requirements. If it's like Jersey Ave, that's a county road. So not only will have city contribution to the planning board stuff, there's also, they have to submit to the county as well. Sometimes we have overlap on that. The reason
Would you be open to contacting them?
I'll mention to Ron, I'll let him know and invite, and I forget, he has, one of the staff guys is the signal and road specialist guy, I forget his name.
He might be
He
the
might
ideal
be,
guy.
he might be the ideal one, yes.
Okay, so we'll
Great, thank you. I really, truly appreciate it. And the other point I wanted to bring up, I think I mentioned it at the parking authority meeting, the county has a plan they're hoping to roll out this quarter for what they call a micro-transit program, similar to what they did in Jersey City, where folks will be able to sort of hail a ride that would, they call on demand, right? Be able to.
sort of like the shuttle that we had.
Well, see, the shuttle is a fixed route, right? So you can rely upon it to pick you up without having to make an appointment.
No, this comes to you. I think they call it,
It's like,
not curb to curb, but like intersection to intersection.
Right, quarter, yeah.
it's almost like a dot type of thing.
Yeah, similar to that, Jersey City has it, and there's an app, and the government subsidizes it. So, right, the government pays this company to create the program and run it, and the cost is, partly subsidized by that, and,
In addition to the MCAT?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm very disappointed that the county has cut back the MCAT so much. I think we're down to just really only one route serving New Brunswick,
Right,
the
'cause the
M1.
M5 didn't come back after COVID. So
I
it's
got
just the
that,
M1.
but I know one of my office mates who's currently out ill has used the MCAT to get to a doctor's appointment, so, but that's a
That's the one
specific.
so yeah, MCAT is two programs. One that if you're a senior or low income, you can call and set up a ride. You need to have several days advance notice, but there used to be the shuttles that would reliably go during business hours. They take you to like Board of Social Services and connect different points around the city. And unfortunately, they never came back. It's been almost 4 years now, and so whether this new program is viewed as a replacement of the routes that are no longer there or a supplement, either way, it's something that's coming.
It's coming, it's not, they haven't started yet.
They gave a contract to VIA, the same company that does Jersey City, and they say they are going to roll it out Q1 of 2024, and they're still deciding on the sort of geography of it, where it will be able to take you, how far you can go outside of New Brunswick, if at all, and also the cost and the hours are still to be determined. So, I would think that'd be something that this commission would be really interested in. I have some, concerns about it. I think it's not a full replacement for a fixed route bus system, which I know I'm a big proponent of. And if you have a fixed route system with reliable headways of like 30 minutes or less, people can know if I go there, I can catch the bus at a certain time and get to my destination, and it'll take me there efficiently. Whereas with this, you reach out either by phone or an app, and it might be 10 minutes till you get picked up, or it might be 30 minutes till you get picked up, and you kind of have to ask first without knowing. And then also, you may be sharing the ride. It may, they may deviate from your quickest route to pick up someone else, and it's more like a van than a typical taxi cab. So
Kind of like Uber Eats for people.
it is similar
Because
to.
they pick up somebody else's order, you're expecting your order, and then they stop and pick
I
someone else.
think they're 8-passenger vans, I want to say. I don't know if that includes the driver and stuff, so it might be like max 6 people. But I don't know, somewhere in that range. Call it 8 people.
Yeah, speaking of the bus, I think transit, didn't they put something on the bus stops where there's a new app or something where it tells you
I saw that. Yeah.
where the bus is?
They're supposed to implement
Scan
that.
They've joined.
Not unlike something that you might see in Europe, for example.
Right.
They're
I know they're testing it, they said.
right, exactly.
Which is good.
I thought they were going to start testing it. I just don't know. But unfortunately, some of our bus stops become vulnerable, like the one in Livingston and Savannah got hit. No police report. We're going to replace it at our own cost. So
Well, what got hit? The
bus stop.
The shelter.
Stop
The
sign?
shelter,
The shelter
the
itself?
shelter itself got whacked.
Mhm.
Is that one of the new ones or one of the old
One
ones?
new ones yet.
Wait. This is on Lewiston Avenue?
Yes, just so you know, the way it works with transit, we, the city, can request bus stops, provided they're on the bus routes. They will put them in for free, but then they become ours, and then we have to maintain them.
So any type of damage, you have to repair them?
Correct. So normally we'll have a police report, someone slid off the road during a snowstorm, didn't report it. So normally with the police report, we'll attach the claim against the insurance company for the driver, and then, it may take a year, but we generally get recouped. In this case, we probably don't have much, although there are cameras there, I should probably ask you guys, we'll talk about that offline. There's definitely cameras right there, so there's 3 of them, so anyway.
Yeah, and then just wrapping it up, the NJ Transit, speaking of NJ Transit, did do a fairly deep study of the greater New Brunswick area and transportation as it stands and opportunities to improve it. And I'm not sure if any of the commissioners are aware of it, but I'm happy to share it with you, Chairman, and do with it what you like. I just got my hands on it a few days ago and haven't read it all
yet.
yet.
That would be great. Appreciate
Okay.
that.
Great. So thanks for hearing me out.
Okay. All right.
Let me give you just a quick update on what's happening on the streets, upcoming projects.
Tom, do you ever have a quick update?
No,
Oh,
but there's a lot going on.
let me get a new page.
Before this starts, I'm
You
going
got
to head over to my conflict.
Thanks for coming.
Hope this doesn't screw up quorum.
Nice to see you.
I don't think
See you guys next month.
We're not making any motions anyhow.
All right. Take care, folks.
We have a number of projects that are either about to start, have started, or will be starting shortly.
Okay, go.
All right, first is Jules Lane. That we coordinated with the water department. All the new water main work is now complete. So this spring, we're going to redo the curbs and do a road improvement project, which essentially is a mill and reef pave. However, a portion of Jules Lane is very much settled. It's actually, believe it or not, on top of probably an old dump. So we're going to replace about 2 to 3 feet of roadway in terms of depth and rebuild 500 feet of the roadway.
Okay.
All right. So that's an existing traffic impact fund. That's a subsidized by the DOT.
I have stuff from previous.
Yeah, you may do.
I could read them off if that helps you.
All
So
right,
I have the Sanford Street traffic improvements.
that project is all but done. The problem that we're having with that project is that the final asphalt coat failed the compaction test. And it failed such that the DOT rejected it, and the contractor will be back in the spring and have to mill and resurface and restripe Sanford Street.
So the contractor's coming back to.
Yes, he's got to eat it.
Remill and repay, right?
Yes. Just the top. All the other work, the concrete work is good, the drainage work is good, but it's just the last layer of asphalt.
Okay. And obviously, the Cancer Institute is moving along.
Well, what's going to happen there is they owe us, that project has to repave Somerset Street from Lewis Street to Hardenberg, and probably even give us Hardenberg and Division Street repave. But that's not going to be done until near the end. And part of that was one of the major 26 kV feeds came up Somerset Street to the project.
Okay.
All right, now, we're about to start 2 other projects, although water will go first. Van Dyke Avenue from Somerset to Jersey, which will be some significant water main replacement. That's an older 16 lead joint. I mean, not that there's lead in the system, but it's an old system of how you join it. They have issues with leaks every now and then. Following that, then we're going to do a road improvement project. Curbs, sidewalks, new pavement, update on the inlets, things of that nature.
Okay.
Okay, then the next project behind that is Lewis Street, and that's going to be Lewis Street from French to Cortland, and then Cortland to Easton. And that's a road improvement project, which is milling, concrete work, upgrading drain inlets, things of that nature. Although we're doing that after a water project, the water project is going to replace the main on Lewis Street from French to Duke and replace the main on Duke. I believe the existing size of the water main on Duke is 4 inches. I believe Lex wants to go to 8. That'll also serve as a secondary feed to the hospital. As redundant, you gotta have redundancy to these big buildings.
Who's Lex?
Alexi.
Alexa. Oh, he's the water guy.
Water director, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
There's just so much going on, so I gotta keep it all in my head.
Lee Avenue?
Lee Avenue, okay, we received, the 2020, I'm gonna get the years maybe screwy, 2022, NJDOT is the,
Local aid?
local aid is Lee Avenue, and from Jones, not from, it's Lee Avenue from Loretto to Sanford is the portion of the road improvement project, but we're gonna extend it. What's that?
Comstock.
Yeah, the Comstock. So what we did is we applied for an EPA grant for $750,000, and that's going to replace the sanitary main. We're adding some storm sewer to Lee Avenue in the Lawrence Street vicinity, and Lex is going to replace, and we actually prepared the drawings from to replace the water main. In fact, they went anyway. So that's probably going to start in a year, but that's a big project. Likewise, we also just were awarded Burnett Street and Jones Avenue. So Burnett Street is the section between Tunison and the bridge over Lawrenceville. That section where the engine fire 2 is. All right, and then we combine that with Lee Avenue, which I think is going to be from Sanford to, I believe, Sedan. And that's going to be just a redo, milling and paving and upgrade that one. Part of Lee was done with the public service project, but it's still crappy. It's got to get done.
So Burnett Street is strictly paving, is that what I heard?
It's going to be a mill and a pave, and we're probably going to upgrade a couple of the.
You got speed limits there.
Yeah, there's one
Right in front of the firehouse.
Yes.
The bridge itself, they just completed, right?
The bridge is actually, every bridge in the county that is a bridge or a culvert that's in the right of way is county jurisdiction.
Speaking of bridges, Landing Lane Bridge.
Yes.
I know they closed it last month for
Right.
emergency repair. What is the long term?
There's actually a virtual public information center coming up on that, I think in the next week. Brandon's got the dates.
Because
That's another bastard.
5 years ago they had one of those.
The landing lane crossing is a bastard kind of jurisdiction. The Delaware Canal Commission, of course, has jurisdiction over the canal itself. That portion of the bridge technically is NJDOT jurisdiction because it's in the historic district and it's also managed by the Canal Commission.
Yeah.
The rest of it is county bridge. So all the problems are occurring with the old bridge. If you ever look closely, that bridge used to be a turnstile. So there's a significant, according to what they say, the divers are saying, significant concrete deterioration underneath the old turnstile portion, and they've closed it for emergency repairs.
Right. Just
Our-
recently, about a month ago.
Yeah, right, and and there's another one coming up. Anyway, our concern obviously is twofold. One is that's probably a 5,000 to 6,000 car per day crossing over the river.
Yep.
That's an extremely high number of cars. Not only that, that canal, if it breaches into the river, that jeopardizes our primary drinking water source, which is the water out of the canal. So clearly New Jersey Water Resources has a lot at stake there, because downstream from us is Middlesex Water's draw for Edison and Piscataway. So that's a critical arterial vein of water to maintain. So that's part of the sensitivity to that. Because it not just impacts New Brunswick, because literally, as you know, if you go down the end of Hamilton Street where Johnson Drive, that's where the big brick building is. That's the water pickup that goes to Edison and Piscataway from Middlesex Water.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of water being drawn out of that, canal. So it's important to keep that pathway, the integrity of that pathway,
What were they doing? What was the project on Johnson Drive? Right near the entrance to 18?
I believe that was a soil remediation
That
project.
was a state project, right?
Yeah, well, it was DOT, that Fletcher Kramer's one of their primaries. Recently, J&J did work inside there. They replaced like the fuel tanks, the executive parking garage, things of that nature. And then we found out, well, they had done their environmental investigation. The site of that site was actually a previous gas manufacturing plant, GMP, which is a big AOC, automatic area of concern in the environmental world. So my assumption is that was related to some of the soil issues.
Awesome.
But it looked like a soil cleanup and removal project. They didn't really dig deep, they just scraped a lot of stuff off, restabilized the banks and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. Anything else? I think you had everything covered.
I think that's quite a bit for now. I may be missing one or two small things, but.
Just looking to see if anything else was said previously.
Also, just for your benefit, the county actually added 2 new signals on the roads. We have a new signal at French, Bayard, and Prospect Street, which we really should have, well, it was initially supposed to happen when that block got developed, but because the upper building hadn't been developed, there was the county kind of didn't see the need, I guess, for the light at that point. Now that we do see the need for the light, but also that's going to assist with the school dismissal at the Science and Technology High School, because that was a bizarre intersection. At dismissal time, it was
It was
insane.
impossible to cross.
Yeah, it was insane. But now also, having the light on Prospect will assist the emptying of the deck on Church Street. This is very important, we just put Plum Street back the way it used to be. Plum Street originally was one way, French to Somerset, which was great because at that parking deck, you have 2 different directions to go. Everything was being forced onto French, and I think that made the French backups at those times more extraneous. But now that Plum is one way up to Somerset, that should help disperse that. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll talk to Ken Abode about that, but I think we see a little bit of alleviation of that traffic. Now that Plum 2 building is almost, at least the outside, so they have a lot of interior work to do. But that's one of the major things I should have pointed out, that Plum is back to what it was.
Okay. And you said there was 2 lights?
Yes, there's a new traffic signal on Jersey Avenue at Hale Street at the entrance to the new school.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the county and the Board of Education are tweaking some of the timing because it had a long length of green on Jersey and a kind of a short length of green on Hale, so getting the kids to wait until the light turns green sometimes is a challenge for the crossing guard. So anyway, there's 2 different times that you're going to probably adjust the timing of the light at the peak arrival and peak dismissal times of the school. So, but they're working on it. So.
Were they going to, I won't keep you much longer. Weren't they looking at a traffic light at Jersey and Van Dyke?
Okay, at Van Dyke and Jersey it's a 3 jurisdiction intersection. So coming northbound, it is NJDOT jurisdiction to the middle line, to the midpoint of Van Dyke on Jersey. Once you cross the midpoint of Van Dyke going north, it's county right away.
Okay.
And then Van Dyke is ours. So we reached out to the state and to the county, and none of them had any interest to help us improve that. In Brunswick, you want to put up a light there, you spend $1 million, and we won't oppose it. But that's
Okay.
So we were trying to get into a partnership with either the county or state and help us, but there was no interest on their side currently.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Very good.
Sorry,
Sorry,
It's all right. Last call. Any comments? We good? All right, thanks for coming, everyone. We are adjourned.
Good, thank you.
So it's Burnett? Like the Burnett that?
Yes.
Behind
Actually,
Hyatt, that was
Before